super moist and chocolatey chocolate cake. So the ingredients I'll be using today is 1.5 cups of milk, 1 cup of superfine or caster sugar, 150 grams of dark cooking chocolate, 250 grams of butter, 250 grams of sifted plain flour, 1 teaspoon of bicarb of soda, 1/3 a cup of cocoa powder, and 2 eggs. The equipment we'll need is a 4-litre pan, an 8-inch round cake tin that I've lined with some greaseproof paper, a sieve, a whisk, and a spatula. So let's get started. I've got my stove on a medium heat, and the first ingredient I'm adding to the pan is the butter. Don't worry about having your butter at room temperature. Since it needs to be melted, you can use it straight from the fridge, which is one of the terrific things about this recipe. So I'm just going to gently melt all of this butter, and now I'm going to add the milk. All I want to do here is bring the milk to the same temperature as the butter. Once the butter and the milk has combined nicely and the heat of the milk has increased, I'm going to pour in my sugar and make sure it's completely dissolved. As you move the whisk around in the pan, you'll be able to feel if the granules of sugar have melted or not. Now I'm going to add my dark chocolate and stir until all the chocolate buds have completely melted. You can check this by looking at your whisk. If it still has lumps of chocolate stuck to it when you lift it out of the mixture, it still has a little bit more melting to do. Make sure you continue to gently stir the mixture. Even though it's on a gentle heat, you still don't want to leave it unattended and run the risk of burning the chocolate. Finally, I'm going to add my cocoa powder and whisk it through the mixture until all of the lumps have disappeared. At this point, you'll end up with a gorgeous dark brown looking liquid, which is truly delicious as it is on its own. Now I'm going to leave the mixture on the stovetop to cool to room temperature. The beauty about this recipe is that you only need to use this one pan to prepare the entire cake batter. So now I'm going to add my flour and bicarb of soda, which has been sifted already. I'll add this in 2 batches, whisking gently to fully incorporate the flour and eliminate any lumps. And finally, I'm going to add my 2 eggs, which I've lightly beaten separately in this bowl, and mix it all together. As you can see, even though the flour and eggs have thickened up the mixture slightly, it's still very runny, but don't worry, this is exactly how it's meant to be. All I need to do now is transfer this mixture into my prepared cake tin and pop it into my oven, which has been preheated to 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 90 minutes. The exact timing may vary depending on each individual oven, but 90 minutes is approximately the time the cake will need to cook. Before removing the cake from the oven, insert a wooden skewer into the centre, and if it comes out nice and clean without any cake residue on it, you'll know it's fully cooked. It's very important that you now leave this cake in the cake tin to completely cool. If you try to invert it now, it will fall apart. So now my cake is completely cooled, and I'm just going to turn it out onto a wire rack and remove my greaseproof paper. Once you try this recipe at home, you'll also discover exactly just how moist, delicious, and irresistible this cake is. I've had many other people try this recipe out and tell me just how much their family and friends were impressed with how delicious the cake was. This cake is great to use as a base for my other tutorials, and an important tip is to allow the cake to chill in the refrigerator fully before you start carving in any project. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to give it a like and also share it with your friends. this one is definitely worth sharing. Also, just a reminder that once you've subscribed to my channel, you'll be updated weekly with my recipes and creative cakes, so don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Make sure you stay tuned, as next week I'll be sharing my white chocolate ganache recipe with you. Also, later this week I'll be using this exact chocolate cake to create my 3D standing Paddington Bear cake, so make sure you don't miss that one. Remember, if you recreate any of my cakes, I'd love to hear from you and see your creations, and you can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest or Twitter. I hope you tune in next time, and thanks for watching.